$103,990. What's that? Well, it's not the price of the house I'm standing in front of, although I know some of you, wish it was. What that is, that's how much below list a new home sold for. And well, let's just get right to it. Let me show you the history on this house. Well, here, as you look at this chart here, now this shows the history of the price changes and when it went on market. So this went on market back in, you see, November of 2023, $586,990, okay? Now you see the price reduction they did. Then they raised the price again. Then they brought it back down to the $529, then brought it up to $549 again, brought it down to $519. I mean, this was a yo-yo. They kept it at $519 for a while, and after 174 days on the market, then they got an offer of $483, which they took. So over here on the side, you see where they had open houses, the price changes, all that. This just reflects that. Now, this is unusual. You don't usually see something like this. So when a price reduction's like this, I don't know, it could have been a house that was on a lot that, a lot of people didn't want. Something particular, that particular model in the neighborhood was at. I don't know. But this MLS sheet will be downloadable out of my weekly newsletter. Hey, also, I'm going to be covering all this information tonight. Okay, this is what I'll be answering tonight. Along with that is I'm going to be looking at what is the current active listings, how many sold in the last 7 days, how many homes are under contract, how many new homes sold in the last 7 days, what is the current active new home listings, how many active listings are foreclosures, how did people pay for these homes, what percentage of homes sold under list, at list, and above list, and much, much more. Hey, my name's Tom Kerr. I'm just a regular guy who happens to be a real estate agent up here in North Florida in this Jacksonville metro area. And because of that, I have an MLS account. And what I do is I take you every week into the back end of my MLS account, and we're going to look at all this data. That's right. This show here is the best market update weekly show every Friday night. And it's called Bubble Watch. And this is season 3, week 15. Let's get into the back end of the MLS right now. We're going to start off with those active listings. All right, here we are in the Northeast Florida's MLS account, and this is my account, the back end. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through these different statuses, and what I want you to focus on is right here where it says view results, because as I click on a different status, that's where the results are going to show up. So we're going to start off with those active listings, which is your inventory. That number is 9,549. Okay, next we're going to take a look and see how many sold in the last 7 days. That number is 453. Okay, now what I do is I export that sold data, because it is going to give me a lot more information than what we're going to see here in the back end. Okay, the next thing I look at is active under contract. Okay, that is 1,255. And that is going to be those that have contingencies. They signed a contract, but they do have contingencies, like say with like an inspection, appraisal, financing, or selling their house. Okay. Next, we're going to look and see how many went pending in the last 7 days. That number is 329, and those are the ones whose contingencies have cleared and now they're in pending status, and the next status is sold. But not all pending sell. Now if you add up the pending with the active under contract, that gives you your total under contract. Okay, next we're going to see how many people withdrew their listings in the last 7 days. That number is 78. Next we're going to see, now the withdrawals are ones that are still active listings. It's just that they can't be shown, so there's no showings for them at the time. And a lot of times people are doing repairs, or maybe somebody's sick and they just can't get out of the house. Next we're going to take a look and see how many expired in the last 7 days. That number is 161. Okay, next we're going to take a look and see how many new homes sold in the last 60 days. In the last 7 days. Okay, that is 103. That'd be bad if it was 103 in 60 days, wouldn't it? All right, now let's go take a look at the active inventory for the new homes. That number is 2,289. Okay, out of the active listings, I'm going to take a look and see how many are in foreclosure status, pre-foreclosure, and short sale status. So first we're going to look at the foreclosure status. That number is 199. Next, we're going to take a look at pre-foreclosures. That number is 20, and next we're going to look at short sales. That number is 28. Okay, now everything I just showed you there, I exported it out. There's a lot more information than what I just showed when it gets exported into an Excel spreadsheet. Now the sheet looks like this when it comes out, and this is a mess of a lot to kind of comprehend. So what I do is I clean it up, I put it into my own Excel spreadsheet which looks like this and makes it easier for us to track week by week. Hey, while all those numbers are sorting out right now and everything's crunching, let's look and see what those rates did this last week. All right, here as we look at the rates, we're looking at the 30-year fixed, and something I'm going to start doing now because it looks like the worst of the rates are behind us right now. So I am going to show the prior year rates, okay, so that you can see. Right here in this column is the current ones. This shows the change over the each day, and then over here the prior year of what it was, okay, and then you've got a year over year change. So we're going to take a look at that. That's what I'm going to do now. So here we are. All the charts start off here at the bottom. This is where we ended up last week at 6.58% here. We see we have still a little mix of arrows, mostly the green though. So we did end up at 6.48, which is down. All right, now let's look at those FHA rates because they're generally less. Okay, here we look at FHA. Last week was 6.12, some green, same mix of arrows, but we ended up getting below that 6% several times here, so we'll have to see how it holds. So we ended up at 5.94, which is definitely less than we were last week. Now, look at those rates over on the other side. Over 7%, okay? So things are better, okay? All right, this is the VA rates, and we're looking, and they kind of follow along with the FHA for the most part. Last week at 6.14, and we ended up at 5.95. And last year, again, you saw they were over 7, okay? Now, as these rates come down, we got to watch the housing prices, okay? A lot of people, you know, think it's going to crash the prices. Okay, so then you're okay. But if these rates keep coming down, are the prices going to come down too, along with the rates? You know, I mean, mathematically, it seems like you're going to have more demand so that the price of the house would go up or at least stay the same for the time being. So we'll see. Whatever it is, I'm going to show it here on this show. All right, so how much longer till we start getting into the fives, solid into the fives? I think it's around the corner. We'll see. All right, now let's look at those Excel spreadsheets and see where I can compare all this data for you from the previous weeks and also last year. Okay, here we are in my Excel spreadsheets, and of course I always have a lot of new people every week, so let me explain how it works. It's actually very simple and it's easy to follow. Okay, we are in season 3, week 15. That is right here, this column, and that's where we put the current weeks in yellow. So you see the previous yellows are the previous other weeks, week 14 right there and week 13, so we can compare. All right. To the right in the white column is season 2, week 15, so it was a year ago, these numbers. And these are all numbers that I input and did on the show all this time for over 2 years, so I keep track of all this. So these are the real numbers. YOY is the percentage of difference between the two. Now, SFH is single family homes, and what I did out of this total in the yellow column, I went ahead and pulled out what of those were single family homes only and eliminated everything else, and that's what these numbers are here. And I just started doing it a few weeks ago, so at least we could see last week's numbers and the weeks before there, so that would be week 13 and 14 also. And then we'll just scroll down this. Okay, so we're starting off here, season 3, week 15, with the active listings. Okay, this is your inventory, 9,549. As you can see, that is up about 40 units right there. All right, how many sold in the last week? 453. So that is down. The sales are down. Active under contract, 1,255, just down by 1. Pending, 329, so that's down. Total under contract though, 1584. So the total under contract is down from last week, okay, and the week before. So you see the trend has been going down. Withdraws 78, expireds 161, new homes sold 103. So 3 more units sold. So while the other home sales went down, the new home sales actually went up. New home inventory 2289, and here in the orange, this is the percentage of homes sold that are new. So 22.74% of all homes sold were new homes. All right, over here in the single family homes, we see the active 7103, so that is actually up. So that's our inventory has increased in those. Solds 367, so that dropped. Active under contract 992 dropped. Pending 248 dropped. So the total under contract 1240 is less than last week's. Okay, withdrawals 57, 117 for expires. New homes sold 87, so there we had our jump 3 right there, and the new homes active 1766 brings our total homes that are sold percentage to 24.71. So almost 1/4 of old single family homes sold are new construction homes. And people, you need to look at these if you're in the market for buying something. Don't rule out the new construction. There's a lot of them in a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of models, and a lot of different prices, and a lot of offers, okay? A lot of offers to where you can get in better, and insurance is actually better on it too. Okay, how did people pay for these homes? All right, cash 25.61%. So cash sales are down from last week, okay, and the week before. Conventionals 40.62, up a little bit. FHA up a little bit to 16.78. VA also had an increase to 14.13, and others also increased to 2.87. So we've seen that steadily going up, okay, for the other types of financing. All right, the foreclosure numbers. Now these are active listings that are statused as foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, and short sales. 199 foreclosure, 20 pre-foreclosure, 28 short sale, brings our total to 247, and the numbers continue to go down. All right, next we look at the percentage of homes that sold under list, at list, and above list. So those that sold under list increased slightly to 76.38. Homes that sold at list actually dropped because homes that sold above list actually went up. All right, now we look at the total homes that sold in different price categories, okay? The homes that sold for $500,000 and above is 27.37, so basically about the same. Homes that sold in the 400s dropped to 10.82. Homes that sold in the 300s increased to 27.15. Homes that sold in the 200s increased slightly, and homes that sold below 200 dropped a little bit. Over on the right here, you see in those price range what was new homes. We had a total of 103 used new homes sold, so 32 were in the 500 and up, 13 were in the 400, 39 was in the 300s, 19 in the 200s, none below 200. So that sweet spot still continues to be 500 and above and the 300s. Okay, when we look at the new homes that sold under list, at list, and above list, the percentage, we see the ones that sold under list increased, okay? Increased quite a bit to 72.82. Homes that sold at list dropped to 14.56, and the homes that sold above list also dropped. So more homes went under list with the new construction homes this last week. Hey, as you're watching this show, if you like the way I'm putting this show together, give me a thumbs up. If you want to be part of Bubble Watch Nation, I got a lot more videos on my channel than just the market updates. So subscribe and hit the notifications, and then you'll be notified every time I get a new video up. You know what? Next we're going to look at what is called MLS Advantage, all right? Now this here is where it takes in all these other MLS boards around here in North Florida. What you just saw, it's Northeast Florida MLS, that's the largest, but I combine all the smaller boards because a lot of people cross-sell, and so when I do that, I'm just looking at the sold numbers. It gives us a broader picture of these 9 counties up here in the Jacksonville metro area. Not only that, but I break it down by county for the sold because a lot of people wanted to see how many sold in particular counties and to kind of follow that trend. So right now, let's get to MLS Advantage. All right here we're in the MLS Advantage site, and down here we're going to look at those 9 counties: Baker, Union, Bradford, Clay, Nassau, Duval, St. Johns, Flagler, and Putnam. Over on the side here I'm going to hit the search button and it'll tell us how many we've got. Okay, 673. Now I'm going to take that data, I'm going to export it over and to the Excel spreadsheet, and we're going to break it down by counties. All right, now we put those into the break them down by counties, and as we can see here, we've got Baker had 7, so a dramatic increase from last week. Union still at zip, Bradford up to 5, Clay County had a decrease to 49, Nassau stayed the same at 51, Duval 234, St. John's 184, they actually saw an increase. Flagler saw an increase from last week to 121. Putnam also saw an increase to 22 for a total of 673. So total overall in MLS Advantage had an increase in sales. Okay, I'm just going to go over the condos right here real quick now. I'm going to explain things that may need explaining. This here is just the same chart as what we just saw with the regular data. So here's where I break the condos out of that overall data, because that included everything. So I just break the condos out by themselves. As you can see, the chart here, all the information is the same. You can pause the video to take a look at it if you'd like. I'm going to move on. This is how people paid for those condos, and surprisingly we saw here you know, how the cash went down, because now this does need some explaining, because conventional mortgages, VA and FHA, all that are harder on condominiums because the lenders go by, they do have a benchmark, and it's based on the percentage of people in that whole condominium complex that are delinquent with HOA dues or taxes. It doesn't matter what you are, how good you are, how well you've been taking care of your finances. If the majority of the people, well, they have their mark. It could be 50%, it could be 30%, it could be 60%, whatever it is. When they reach that many that are delinquent, they will not finance even you. So that's why you always see more cash in the condos. Okay, there's our foreclosure numbers there with the condominiums. As we can see, they dropped also. And right here we've got, you know, the condos that sold under list, at list, and above list. So there's your numbers. And the number over here on the right, the 24, 1, and 3, those are the units, how many units sold at those different intervals, under list, at list, and above list. Okay, here we go into the categories, pricing categories. So it's basically the same as our last group. So you can pause the video to look at those numbers, and then the numbers on the right are the actual units that sold in those price ranges. Nothing new in the new with condos, so we're going to move on. Okay, because of the law, okay, the condominium law, okay, and I'm going to put a link to it here in the in my description. I mean, this is it right here, SB 4-D, Building Safety Florida Senate law, and it describes everything about the condos. I'm not going to go into it all here. Like I said, I'm going to put this link into my description so you can look it up and read it. But basically, the reason I show this is because they go by 3 stories or above where this law takes effect, and also age 25 and 30 years or older. So we show here, I just break it down for Grinch just to see how many condos sold at those stories. Now that's the total story of the complex, not the condominium itself. So as we can see here, how many, you know, 4 were 1 stories, 15 were 2, 8 were 3 stories, 1 was 4. Now we look at it by year, and so this is the year the condo was built and the total stories for that one condo. So that 1998, you see the first one, that was a 1 story. The next condo was a 1989 at 1 story. 2 of them were 1974s at 1 story, and then so on. I'll scroll it, and then you can pause it as you wish. Okay, these are the counties where the condos sold. And this here is the chart of how much below list price these condominiums sold for. So you can see the original list, the closed price, which is the sold price, and the difference. And I'll scroll that down for you also. All right, we still got plenty left here. What's next is the houses of the week. That's where I take a look at a house that's sold below list, above list, and you saw an example there last night, okay? And then I mean earlier in the show, not last night, here in the beginning of the show, and then also the condo too. And usually I don't have a condo sold above list, so you know we just do the one that's sold below. You know, I get a lot of questions all the time. People calling every day. I get phone calls, okay? People want to know about the numbers. They just want to talk about the market. If you'd like to give me a call, I'll talk with you too, because they see all these other videos out there telling you that everything's going down the toilet. And if it does, I'm going to show it, but I just show these numbers every week. These are the real numbers in real estate up here, and that's what I'm showing. All right, so we're going to get to these houses of the week right now. Let's start off with the house that sold below list price. All right, we're going to start off here with the house that sold below list price. Okay, this house here is in St. Johns County, built in 2005. It's 1,624 square feet. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Okay, now this one here, let's take a look at its history. Okay, this one here is going to have a long history. All right, we see now all these, when we look at these histories, we start out at the bottom here and it shows the date over on one side, and then on the left here it tells the events that happened during that time, you know, price adjustments, open houses, etc. So this one here started at $420,000. Okay, they gradually, as you can see, were lowering the price. Okay. Brought it down to 400 and kept it at 400 for quite a while through these open houses. Okay, and let's see, even some more price reductions and all that. So, well, let's see. They ended up getting an offer, sold it for $340,000 after 299 days on the market, almost a year. All right, so let's go back here and look, and they lowered the price to $344,000. And that's when they ended up getting the offer through $340,000. Okay, the price per square foot that works out to is $209 a square foot. And let's see what they paid for it. Okay, they bought the house in 2023, so last year, let's say almost a year, $356,500. So they took a loss on this one. So this was a beater, okay? So because of that, we won't have an appreciation calculator. Okay, next we're going to look at the house that sold above list price. This house here was built in 1965, 2,375 square feet. It's in Duval County, 4-bedroom, 3-bath home. All right, let's take a look at its history. Okay, this one here started on the market at $350,000. Okay, after 72 days on the market, they got an offer for $380,000. Now this one's a little strange here, because usually when you see these above list price, especially that much there, they're usually not on the market that long. But as we can see here, when it was, you know, about a month on the market, 28 days, they increased the price to $370,000. So something was going on. They felt it was worth more, and they got more for it. Okay, when we look down here, we see that the price per square foot was $160. See here where it says seller credit, and they did give a credit of $6,109 to the seller. So that comes off of some of that, but it's still above asking price, even after the seller concession. Okay, this one here, when we look at what they paid for it, there's no record in here, and I'm just not going to research it that much. It could take a while to figure it out. This here is the quick look, and they just don't have any information on it, so we don't have an appreciation calculator for it. All right, we're going to look at the condo that sold below list price. Okay, this one here was built in 2001, 1,397 square feet, 2-story total for the complex. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, so good sized condominium. It does not fall into those new requirements for that new law. All right, so let's see what the, well, let's take a look real quick and see what their monthly fees are. Right over here, we can see their monthly fee is $532 a month, okay? Here we look at the history. It went on the market for $229,900.
was on the market 209 days before they got an offer for the 190, okay? And then they took it. Now, they had reduced that price, and when they reduced it to 190, then they got the offer for 190 and they took it. Okay, as we look and see what they paid for it, they bought it back in 2008. Okay, now this 2008, in January 2008, they paid $151,400. You know, it was right at that edge there where they may have paid too much just before things really started dropping off. So we'll see. We'll see how this figures out. Okay, we'll put it into an appreciation calculator. Now, I do change it to 189 instead of 190 because they did give a $1,000 concession. So as we see here, it works out the 16 and a half years, only 1.35% per year. So that is very low. So did they pay too much? They caught it just before prices really fell in 2008 and paid too much there. And then they're also caught in the current condo crisis. Okay, here now we look at the condo sold above the list price, built in 2005, 1,437 square feet. It's also, total stories is 3. Okay, so it will fall into that once the year of the condo gets to a certain age. It's a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. All right, their monthly fees are $407 a month. And this one here has quite a history. All right, so it started at $225,000. Stayed that way for quite a while. Yep, this keeps going. Then after 219 days on the market, they got an offer for $227,900, okay? So there must have been some concessions involved in that. So let's see if the concessions really made this an above list price. Okay, this one here ended up selling for $158 a square foot. And they didn't have any concessions. Okay, so that's unusual that they upped the price like that so many days on the market and then no concessions. All right, we go to try to check to see what they paid for it, to put in an appreciation calculator, and I get this, the tax partial ID and everything could not be found in the tax rolls. That is probably because the agent, you know, I mean, these people, you know, they thought they had a good agent. Well, the agent may have put in the wrong information. I don't know that because I haven't researched it, but that is what usually happens when you get this error. Somebody doesn't put in the right information in the listing, okay? So then you have to do more research and, you know, maybe the person's name and all this and that, and so I'm just not doing that for the purpose of this comparison. Hey, the MLS sheets for all those houses of the week are available in my weekly newsletter for you to download. Also, you can get a download, will be special in this week's weekly newsletter on that house that I showed in the beginning, okay, of the video here tonight. And we'll have that also. Hey, you know what? I mean, I don't know if it's been kind of quiet here. There is some construction noise going on. This house right here is a new home that's going to be featured in my Sunday night show. Comes out at 7 o'clock on Sundays, where I feature a new home and I compare it with used homes in other parts of the state. And if you're looking to buy or sell here in Florida, then give me a call. You can shoot me an email also or a text. I'm licensed in Florida, so even though my home base is up here in the Jacksonville metro area of Northeast Florida, believe me, if you want me to help you with writing up your contract for buying a house anywhere in the state, I can do it. Now, after that NAR settlement, NAR is National Association of Realtors, things have drastically changed on buying and selling homes, okay, as of August 17th, and it's more important than ever to have a real estate agent that knows what's going on, okay? So if you have any questions even about that or the market in general, just feel free to give me a call, you know, and I'll talk with you. I talk to people all the time, and it's even better when I meet you in person. Hey, you know what? This is Bubble Watch number 15 of season 3. It is now in the can, and until next week, or actually till Sunday night, I'm out of here.